So
we can.
what exactly is Active Directory Certificate Services or ADCS? Commonly.
So ADCS is a server role in Windows operating systems that allows organizations to implement public key infrastructure in their Active Directory domain. So it allows them to use a digital certificate as well as the use of asymmetric encryption for various kind of security applications. So that's what Active Directory Certificate Services are.
And so my question is, how often do we see these in our real world engagements?
So I would say if the client has implemented these ADCS in their environment, then there I would say that more than 80 to 90% chances are there that they have configured it in a vulnerable way. So it's quite frequent.
Yeah, and we briefly spoke about ESC1. Actually, we just introduced it. How often do you see these attack vectors in a domain, in an Active Directory domain?
As I told that these templates we are seeing vulnerable every time when, as I said you that whenever the company has implemented ADCS, there are high chances that the certificate templates that they have created are vulnerable. So because of small mistakes that the sysadmins are making, because of them these certificates are getting vulnerable, and we are seeing it in everyday life. We are seeing that they are vulnerable. We are basically very easily exploiting these kind of attacks in our daily engagements.
Cool. And just to build up on that, what role does ADCS play in enterprise security?
Okay. So ADCS provides a better security as compared to a normal authentication, if you say, because ADCS also provide a secure way of client authentication. So using ADCS, basically ADCS provides you digital certificate, and via using the digital certificate you can authenticate to a client. So it's much more secure than password-based authentication. It also provide you encryption capabilities, so you can encrypt your files or devices, or it also provides code signing abilities. So it provides a lot of security applications in an enterprise environment.
Okay. And what are the common uses and why is it so important?
So it's why ADCS is important. As I mentioned that ADCS can be used for various security applications. So these security applications are like your client authentication, email encryption, or code signing. So since ADCS provide these security applications, sysadmins can use these application, these functionalities in their environment, and then they can make secure client authentication, or they can secure their files via encrypting them, as well as they can also secure their codes by signing the codes.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot of information. Now, let's move into the actual, the fun part, which is the exploitation part. We'll cover each one of them in a particular order. And then the fun part here is that we have practicals, so stay tuned, guys. We have excellent practicals with this in this podcast series, right? So let's start off with okay. Before we start that, let's talk about the components of ADCS.
So we can go to the attacks, but that's what is taught in most of the courses. They are directly going to the attacks, and they are not teaching students students about these components of Active Directory Certificate Services. So I would say that if you learn the very basics of Active Directory Certificate Services, then the attacks will make more sense. So that's why I put this slide purposely, so that they can understand what each of the components of ADCS are, and I am going to show them the practically how this component looks like in the Active Directory domain, so that they can get a clear idea. Okay. So let's start with the components. So the first thing that we have is the certificate authority itself. So it's a trusting entity which is responsible for management as well as issuance of digital certificates. So that's the certificate authority. Next we come to the certificate templates. So think of certificate templates as a blueprint. So it has a predefined set of configurations which the client can ask for, and the certificate that is generated using the certificate template, the certificate will inherit all those configurations. So this is what certificate template is.
And that's why we have the word templates.
Templates.
Right?
Yeah, it's a blueprint. And then we have the certificate itself. So a certificate is a digitally signed document which can be used for various purposes that we just talked about. They are encryption, message signing, as well as authentication. Before that, let me just explain this thing because I think it's very important before going to practical. So just one thing I want to explain here, like how does a certificate sign request works in Active Directory certificate services. So let's suppose that there is a client and they want message signing capabilities or code signing capabilities via digital certificates. So the first thing that they will do, the client will generate a public and private key pair, and then the client will generate a CSR. CSR stands for certificate signing request. So in that certificate signing request, it will have the subject of the certificate, which is the name of the client. Then we have the certificate template that the client is asking, and it also has the EKU. EKU stands for extended key uses, which is the intended purpose of that certificate. And then it will encrypt that certificate signing request with its own private key, and then it will send the request to the enterprise server. Okay. And what enterprise server will do, it will have some verification because no one can just send a request and it will directly accept it, right? So what CA will do, it will first verify whether the client is allowed to enroll in the certificate or not. The second thing, it will check whether the client has the EKUs that client has provided, whether that EKUs are present in that certificate template or no. So these two are very important, the enrollment on the certificate template as well as whether the EKU is valid or not. If all these things matches, then the certificate authority or the enterprise CA will create a digital certificate, and it will sign the digital certificate with its own private key, with the CA's private key, and it will send that certificate to the client. And then client, they can use that certificate for the EKU that they have defined, which is the code signing capabilities. So this is how the certificate signing request looks like. So I think it's good that we have discussed it before going to the practical so that the audience can get a better idea.
Exactly. So guys, before we move on, there's just a disclaimer. Please don't try these attacks at home. These are serious attacks. Stay ethical, stay responsible. All of this that we are doing it in a contained environment, which has been designed by us. So please don't try hacking your own organization. It is very critical that you stay responsible. Yeah, Shashi.
Yeah. So let's go to the practical. As Karan mentioned, that the practical we are going to show, it's the lab that we have prepared to showcase all the attack vectors. So yeah, let's right now I am a domain joined machine, and let me go to the domain controller just so that they can get an idea of what are the things at. So let me just search this thing. Let me just search for certificate authority, and just before that let me also search for server manager. Okay. So people might be thinking that I am talking about certificate authority and why I am going to a domain controller. So you can also install a certificate authority on a domain controller. In addition, so certificate authority can be installed on a server as well as it can also be installed on a domain controller. Okay. So that's why this is the domain controller on which the certificate authority is installed. And if you see, there is ADCS role installed here. So that's why I am saying that this domain controller is also acting as a certificate authority because of this role.
But like in other cases, you may see a different scenario altogether.
Yeah, where there is a server apart from a DC, and on that server the certificate authority is installed. So let's switch to this certificate authority tab. Let me just minimize it. Okay, anyway, so yeah, let's just go to certificate authority and just maximize it. Okay, so this is the name of the certificate authority, which is secure CA. So as this CA is installed on a domain controller, it can have a different name. Okay. it's not necessary that it should have the name of the DC. It can have a different name. So this is the certificate authority that
So
I'm talking about.
is this the root CA as well?
Yeah, this is the root CA as well. So this is this certificate authority. This is the trusting entity. So everybody trusts it. Domain controller, users, everyone trusts this. So whatever certificate it generates, it will be trusted by everyone. Okay. So this is the certificate authority, and these are the certificate templates. These are the ones that are issued. Then we have some requests which are failed request, pending request, installed, issued certificates, and revoked certificates. So, but the main thing here is the certificate templates. So these are the certificate templates that are issued. So let me just show the audience that how a certificate is generated and what is how the client can use that certificate for various purposes. So let's do that quickly. So how you can create a certificate? Let's go to manage, and these are all the certificates. It is not necessary that all of them are issued, but these are all the certificates that are present in a certificate authority. So let's create a scenario where the same scenario that we talked about when discussing the certificate sign request. So there is a requirement that the client wants a code signing certificate so that they can sign the code. And why they require to sign a code? Because so there are scenarios where the system patches are going on and different code are pushed. So at that time it is very necessary that the code should be signed, so that if an unauthorized body has made any changes, so while verification it will be clear that the code has changed and it will not be pushed to the production. So that's why we require code signing. So let's just create the template using, so how the people are creating template, direct click, let's duplicate the template, and then let's create a name. So let's write a code sign template. Okay, and in the security tab, let's make this let's suppose that this certificate can be used by all the authenticator, all the domain user. So this time let's add domain users group here. Let's add it, and we will allow them the enrollment right here. Okay, so that they can enroll. So this is one of the misconfiguration that can happen in the environments. So let's suppose there is a scenario where only few users require this code signing ability, but what the sysadmins are doing, they are just granting the rights to the domain users to enroll in this. That's where the misconfiguration happens, and that's what we will see going on. So now let me just, now we will have to in the extension, if you can see that it is used for code signing. Okay, I think yeah, that's enough.
So a quick question. So this screen that you have shown, so these templates are not enabled right now, right?
Yeah, correct. Right now I'm creating, I will now issue them.
Okay.
Then they will be enabled.
Okay.
Okay. So let's apply, and then yeah, it will, now it's trying to create that template. It will take few seconds, so let's just wait for few seconds. Yeah, let's click OK. Now the template is created. It doesn't necessarily means it is issued. So now let's issue this template. If you go back to this tab and just right click, new certificate template to issue, and this time let's go to the code signed template. Let's click OK. Now if you can see here, now this template is issued. Okay, now the clients can, or the domain users can use this certificate for code signing. So we will see how they can do that. So let's switch back to the our normal domain joined computer, which is this WS0. Right now we are not a domain controller, we are on just a normal user machine. So let me just come here, because I'm getting difficult to see the screen. Okay, I hope. Looks like another tool has opened, which we already discussed in the previous podcast, but this time let's focus on this one. So yeah, so let's go to, let me just open command line here, and let's open Microsoft Management Console. And right now I'm going to create open a console that can help in requesting a certificate. So let's do that. So file, just add a snap in. We need the certificate snap, so just add it. We need for user account which is already logged in, and then let's click OK. Now this will show all the certificates that are related to current user in this domain. Okay, so if we see that right now there is no certificate issue for this user, so let's quickly request a certificate. This is where the certificate signing request will go, that we just talked about. So let's do that. Let's click on all tasks and request new certificate. Click next, and then next. And if you see, I think so this is the template that we are going to use for signing the code. So let's select this code signing template. Then we will click on enroll. Now we are enrolled in this. Now we can just export the certificate and use the certificate for code signing. So this is the certificate that is issued to the Fox user, and it is issued by our secure CA is the certificate authority that
which is the domain controller.
Which is the domain controller in our case. And if you see the intended purpose of this certificate, it is only intended for code signing. We cannot authenticate using this certificate in a domain. Okay. So let's quickly export this certificate so that we can use it. So all properties, export. Yeah. So these are just the default options, and let's save it somewhere. Let's save it in the downloads folder. Let's call it as code sign. Then we can just save it. So this is CER is one of the format of our certificate. We can have PFX as well. So yeah, let's click next, and all things look good, and then we will just finish it. And the export was successful. And if we go to the downloads folder, we have the code signing certificate, and using this certificate we can sign a code. So let me just show that as well, how we can use this certificate to sign the code. So yeah, let me just move this certificate in this folder where we have a sign tool which can be used for signing as well as for verification of the certificate. So yeah, let me just open the command line. My bad. I think I have to again send it here. Open the command prompt here. Yeah. So now we are going to sign a code. So we already have a code here which is system info. This is a script. We can sign the script using this certificate template and using the this sign tool. So let's quickly sign that. I hope I remember the command here. Name of the tool, then we will use the sign module, and then we will specify the name of the certificate, which will be, I think it's a code sign.cer, and then we will specify the algorithm which can be specified using the flags FD, and let's use SAR256, and then we will specify the name of our file or the script that we are going to sign here. So let's sign that. If you see, successfully signed the systeminfo.ps1. Now let's verify this, whether whether basically we are going to sign it and see whether this script has been tampered with or not. So right now we have not made any changes, so let's verify it. So again, same tool can be used, sign tool. This time we will go for verification. Verify. Let's use the V flag for verbose, and let's use this. We are going to use a TA flag, and then we will specify the name of the file. Okay. Okay, I think it's something different. I guess it's TD. Okay, let me just quickly check the command. I think it's PA. Okay, sorry, my bad. I think it's yeah, if you see here, now if you see, the successfully verified this file, okay, and the number of files successfully verified is 1. Now let's suppose there is an attacker and they have access to this code and they can modify this code, right? So let's quickly modify this code, and then we will again verify whether it's the verification is successful or not. So let me just edit this file and let's write some malicious code. Okay, this is not a C# code, it's just a dummy string. Let's suppose that attacker has made changes in this code, and before pushing this code in the production, we have pipelines. In the pipelines we can just verify the code as well. Okay, so let's quickly do the verification again. Let me just save this file with this modified code, and yeah, again let's try to sign the code. Let's try to verify the code. Let me just clear the screen. Again we will verify the script, and this time if you see, there is an error. Okay, the digital signature of the object did not verified, and the number of files successfully verified is 0. So before pushing the update, the pipeline will not push the code in the supply chain, and that's how we can use the digital certificates. That's what we saw in this case. It can be used for signing the code so that attackers cannot tamper with the code. So this is one of the use cases of ADCS certificate service.
For code signing, right?
Code signing.
Okay.
So yeah, so see, this is what is missing in all the videos or the training material that is out in the internet. This is what is missing.
Okay. People actually don't know what is code signing, what are certificates used for. Okay, excellent. This is actually a good reminder as to how folks within the Active Directory domain, they use certificates. Excellent. Okay. So.
And then we can just continue. Yeah, so we discussed certificate signing request, and then we just saw a practical component as well.